Looks like the bulls and the bears are engaged in a tug of war. Looking at this chart of the SPY, the ETF for the S&P 500, it finished the day with a spinning top doji type of a candle on an inside day. There is a lot of indecision, and the bear and the bull, it just fought it out throughout the entire session and ended up going nowhere after the open. So we'll see who's going to win this tug of war in the next couple days. Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is December 7, 2022. As you can see from today's price action, hardly anything was accomplished here between the bulls and the bear, other than the bear was able to take it down a little bit, but it was unable to take it below yesterday's low. Remember yesterday in our video, we'll talk about that the bulls have to defend this level near the 390, and the bear basically have to prevent the bulls from taking it back up to this pivot high near the 410 area. And looking at this 4-hour chart of the SPY, remember yesterday we'll talk about that the price need to come back up. We claimed this high volume no and possibly get up here. Basically need to get back above this trend line and come up to this HVN above the 402.31. and then try to push through this LVN at 407.50. So right now, it's still trying to gather up enough momentum to come back up and backtest this HVN near the 398 area. And the bear is trying to hold it below this HVN, below this 394.94. So basically below this 395 area, and try to push it down to this LVN at this 388.55 and try to push it into this gap here. So right now we're basically still waiting for either one of these scenarios to play out, is to come up, back test here to see would it be able to successfully come up to this 402, or would it come up and get rejected and get pushed back down and dip below this LVN, or the bear just take it down and the bulls just give up and the bear will try to take it down to fill this gap here. Looking at this market profile chart for the ES, the emini S&P 500, as you can see, this is the day that Chairman Powell made a speech and gave a hint to the market that moderation of the rate hike could start in this month's FOMC meeting. Right? And you see from on Friday, it came back down and filled some of these single print, and as of yesterday, it took all of it back plus more, and right now it's basically sitting below that low here. So we basically are looking to see would it come back up and fill the single print that was left behind from yesterday's session, and come up, fill the single print and then push it back down and try to get down to this poor low and resolve this poor low. Now today there is a little bit of a poor low on today's session, and you see that it is a inside day. So we'll see, maybe tomorrow it will gap up and work itself down to resolve this poor low, or it will come down, tag this poor low, and then rally back up and fill the single print. Because you see it's been one time framing down for the last 3 sessions, except today it's basically it's an inside day, so nothing has changed. So basically still looking at a one-time framing down, so that is a little bit more of a downtrend. So until it could come up and take out this high, well, tomorrow if we could take out this high, then we will be breaking the daily one-time framing down pattern. And here's a quick look of the internal, the intraday internal. You see the down volume outnumber the up volume here, and the up-down volume ratio for the New York Stock Exchange, and it close to 2-to-1 in favor of the downside. And for the Nasdaq, it's also 1.75, 1.76 to 1 in favor of the downside. So is the Russell 2000. The Russell is also almost 2-to-1 in favor of the downside. Now you can see the advanced decline is pretty much kind of chopping around, not doing too much, although it seems to be biased on the upside until later on in the afternoon. Kind of came down and closed with a slight negative, a little bit more declining issue than advancing issue, but not by much. When we're talking about a little bit over, somewhere around 138 issues. Now for the Nasdaq, it's a little bit more choppy and stay down underneath the zero line. There are more declining issue than advancing issue throughout most of the session. You can see that after 11 o'clock or so, it's pretty much stay below that. The decliner outnumber the advancer. And the cumulative tick is interesting for the New York Stock Exchange. It's pretty much hover around the positive territory until the last hour and a half to 2 hours. Then it kind of turned slightly negative. And the NASDAQ market has been negative throughout the entire session. Looking at this chart, the interesting thing to pay attention to is the put-call ratio here. You see that the put-call ratio actually went above 1, and as you can see, it basically just went up. And right now, it closed at 1.17. So I'm not sure what's going on here because we are seeing a lot of volatility or the swing between the put-call ratio between the 0.75 and 1. So I'm not sure, is it some kind of a game that the algo is playing with the daily OPX to push the index up and down. So we'll see, but right now it's certainly kind of noticeable to see how the put-call ratio, started out in the day down here at 0.75. Within the lunch hour, we see it cross over to above 1 and then kind of stay up there. So we'll see, but not much happening to the index though. So that's the interesting part. Wonder what is going on here. So here we see the advanced decline. Also, we see after the lunch hour, around close to 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the New York time, we see that the advanced decline kind of start turning negative. So a little bit more declining issue than advancing issue. But again, like I said, it wasn't much. It was just a little bit under 130 or so, more declining issue than advancing issues. And the up-down volume ratio, 2 to 1, pretty much kind of stay there around that level most of the session. And the new low outnumbered the new high by 64. And just getting a little update on the Apple. Looking at the Apple chart, you see that it is still working itself toward this LVN here. So might be working to try to fill this gap. We'll see. See would it get a little bit of a bounce tomorrow and try to come up to this lower range of the expected move. Then probably see a little bit of a continuation of rejection and pushes back down to the LVN here. So Apple is definitely a little bit bearish based on the recent price action. Tesla is also trying to hold this LVN here, this 173.96 or this 174 area. So remember we were saying that watch this thing. If it comes down to this LVN, look for this gap and fill this gap, then this low will be in play. So we'll see. Will Tesla get a little bounce tomorrow and come up and test this lower range of the expected move and see would it get rejected back down and then push us down to this low here. So those are the quick update for today. Hopefully you find these information useful. And if you want to follow me on my Substack page on these FANG Plus stock, then go check it out. My link is smtraderCA.substack.com. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to smash that thumbs up to help me promote this video and stay safe.